Well, good morning, everybody. I'm Mike from Cruise Med Adventures, and this is the Cruise News Today. And I am back. And boy, it seems like I've been gone forever, but it's really only been about a week. But hope you guys are having a good morning. Hope you're getting off to a good start to the week. And so today, instead of doing the cruise news, I figured I'd do a cruise review of my trip on the Navigator of the Seas, and give you my thoughts, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Wasn't a whole lot of ugly, but I'll give you my honest opinion of everything. But hey, let's jump over to the chat real fast and see what's going on. And we got ocean to ocean travel. Well, good morning, Bruce. Hope everything's going good for you. And we got reading vlog. Welcome in. I know it's not morning where you're at, but welcome in just the same. And so got everybody saying hi to each other. So I'll go ahead and looks like we got Will G in the house. Well, welcome in, welcome in. Working and listening. Well, hope your work day goes as smooth as possible. And but I'll go ahead and jump into my cruise review, and just to show you how professional and organization, we got actual notes going on here. So this basically, I flew out not yesterday, but the Sunday before last, and flew to LA to go on the Navigator of the Seas. And right off the bat, just to give you some, some little tidbits of information, I did choose to do the park and ride from Houston Intercontinental Airport, and it ran me $80 for 70 days or for 7 days, so that wasn't too bad. The shuttle service was great. Checking in at the park and ride was really easy. You just drive up, swipe your credit card, park your vehicle, and the shuttle takes you right over. And the flight was smooth. Flew United out there to LAX, and let me tell you, LAX is a huge airport, very busy. And but I didn't have any real issues there. But I was going to get an Uber from the airport out to the cruise terminal. And hey, we got the Z Show Cruise Fund. Well, welcome in, Z. Welcome in. Hope you're having a good morning. But just an interesting note: if you haven't been to LAX before, to catch an Uber, you have to walk to this site away from the airport, and it's a pretty good hike. I had to cross a couple of streets, and so that was kind of interesting. But once you get out there, it's pretty well organized. Didn't have any issues meeting up with my Uber over there. And just so you know, it was about a $45 Uber ride from LAX out to San Pedro, which was where the cruise terminal is for LA. And then as far as San Pedro goes, it's a pretty cool little town, and everything there is within easy walking distance, which is what I liked about it. They have some actual stuff to do right there. If you're there a day or two before your cruise, you've got the Maritime Museum. You've got the USS Iowa Battleship Museum, which is pretty cool. And there's also a fish market that is out there. And there's all kinds of bars, restaurants, and things to do right around there, antique shops. So it's a pretty cool little town, and everything, like I say, is in easy walking distance. I think the only ugly part of my trip was I made a mistake and I booked a room at the Motel 6 Studios. And I can only say never, ever, ever stay at the Motel 6 Studios in San Pedro. Probably any of them. But, originally I had a room booked at the Queen Mary and I was going to, stay there the night before. But I had to change those plans because they have this race that goes on at across the bridge between Long Beach and San Pedro, and I had an early boarding time, and I just didn't want to have to deal with that traffic and being late and all that. So I canceled that reservation and moved it over to San Pedro. But I highly recommend that if you ever are going to cruise out of San Pedro and you're going to stay the night before, a couple of days before, I highly recommend the Crown Plaza Hotel. That's the one you want. It's probably the nicest one in San Pedro. They have a restaurant, they have bars. You can walk from there to the cruise terminal real easy. There's all kinds of stuff to do. Very safe area, as opposed to where I was at. And I didn't even really feel comfortable laying my head down at that place. But that was the lone ugly spot of the trip. I just thought I'd share that little tidbit. And we got Eddie Lugo Studios in the house. Welcome in. Good morning to you. And so, yes, I did stay the night before. And so that day I did a little sightseeing, and I went to the Maritime Museum, and the admission there is kind of based off a donation system. So I guess you're not technically required to pay to get in, but they recommend, or they ask that you make a $5 donation per adult. And I happily did that. Actually, I gave them 10, because I don't know. I thought it was a really cool place. It's very scenic. Outside, there's a little. It's right on the harbor, so there's all kinds of places to stand and check. Look at the water. But on the inside, they had all kinds of cool displays. If you're into nautical history, things of that nature, they had one room set aside for U.S. Navy displays and stuff like that, and that was pretty cool. They had, displays on the canning industry, the commercial shipping industry, the commercial diving industry. And so it was really cool. I mean, for $5, I don't know what more you could really ask for. And so that's what I did. And then right next door to the Maritime Museum is the USS Iowa. Is the USS Iowa Museum, which is a World War II era battleship, and that one cost me $25. But obviously I used to be in the Navy, so that was kind of right up my alley, and so went on board. And it's pretty much, I mean, they do have tours I think you can sign up for, but you can just do a walking tour. They have it all, roped off, and they have arrows telling you where to go. They have all kinds of placards. And I mean, you could almost spend all day there just walking around and looking at all the cool stuff, the huge guns that used to be on there, they're not used to be, but they're still on the ship, and all the stuff that they have set up on the inside, all the naval history that they have. And so, so I spent the day doing that, and right there. And like I said, it's all right there within easy walking distance. So you don't even really need a cab to get around, really. And so that's what I did the day before. And so moving on to the day that, embarkation day, I got up early. They were still doing the race. They had all the streets blocked off. The police were out there shutting things down. But I checked out of my room, and I literally walked with my suitcase across the street down took me like maybe 10 minutes to get from the hotel to the cruise terminal. And I think they had it pretty well organized. As soon as you get up there, they have the baggage drop. So if you're going to check your bag with the porter, it's like the first thing you come to, and then you just go right around the corner to get in line to go inside. And they had like 4 lines set up. One line was for suite guests and Pinnacle, Diamond, Diamond Plus, and then another line for the key people that were doing the key. And then they had 2 other lines set up. And my boarding time was at 10:30, so they had a line set up for 10:30, one for 11. But it went pretty fast. I mean, as soon as I got in line, the guy was already waving people through, and they started before 10:30. So, and then as soon as you go in, they check your documents. You go through security. You go up to where guest services is. They check you in, and I mean, the whole process. Like I said, they started at 10:20. I was on board by 10:35. I mean, it moved pretty quick. And then we'll move on to the ship, which was the Navigator of the Seas, and it's a Voyager class Royal Caribbean ship. And if you've been on I've been on the Adventure of the Seas, which is the same class, and so I had that kind of to compare. And if you've been on the Adventure of the Seas, it's pretty much the same layout. It's just different. It's one of those ships that was amped, so there's a lot of upgrades. And right off the bat, the Lido area, they have the lime and coconut bar, which I don't believe Adventure of the Seas had, which was kind of a 2-story bar, and then they have like an observation area on top. And they had all these little cabanas or casitas, I think. I don't know I figure what they call them, but the little cabanas that you can rent. They're kind of pricey. I mean, for import, I think it was either 150 or 200. And then on sea days, they rent for like 400 for the day. But you get your own little covered little area with a couple of deck chairs, and which they're much nicer than the regular deck chairs out there. And I didn't book one because I just it seemed a little pricey for me, but it just let you know what they have. They also had Johnny Rockets and El Loco Fresh by the pool. And El Loco Fresh is kind of, if you've been on Carnival, it's kind of their version of the Blue Iguana, except I would say that, me personally, I think the Blue Iguana was better. I wasn't that impressed with El Loco Fresh on that ship. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's a little bit better on the Oasis class ships, but I just didn't like the selections of stuff. It seemed very limited, but it is complimentary. And then they have the Johnny Rockets Express, which you do have to pay for, and it was good. I did eat there one day. I had lunch. I had the spicy Houston burger, which was really good. Had jalapenos, cheese, and all that, and had the onion rings with it, which were really good. So, I mean, I would recommend that one over El Loco Fresh, even though it's you actually have to pay for it. But it was like, I want to say it was like $12, $13. So not too bad. But they also have one difference between Adventure and Navigator. They did have the Bamboo Room cocktail bar, and they also had Playmakers, the sports bar. The Bamboo Room was really nice. I liked it. I liked the decor, in there. Kind of made you feel like you were in Hawaii or something, South Pacific. But one thing, and the cocktails were really awesome that they had. They had all kinds of different ones. But the one thing to keep in mind, now, even though I had the drink package, some of the signature cocktails, your drink package didn't completely cover it, so it's like $1 extra. So just keep that in mind if you want to go to the bamboo room. The drinks are awesome, but it's some not all of the drinks. I mean, they do have a drink menu, and they have like one half is like these signature cocktails, and but like I said, that it's just $1 extra. So playmakers, on the other hand, I'm usually a big fan of playmakers, but I'll be honest, on this ship, the playmakers there, I wasn't that impressed with it. Well, I mean, it's a cool area. They got all the TVs just like you'd expect with all the games on. It's just the same as the other playmakers on the other ships, but it seemed to me like they were understaffed at that particular one because I only ever saw at the most 2 employees in there. Sometimes it was only one, and mostly they had to run the bar. The bar was always busy, but and they did have a menu that you could order food on. But I went in there a couple times and sat down and tried to get stuff, but it was so busy that I just had to go somewhere else. So it's still a cool area to go if you want to watch a game, if it's, trying to catch a football game or something. But the service there was not that great. I mean, if you were lucky to get a seat at the bar, then you might get served. But I don't know. That's just my thoughts on that. And so moving on, so my room, I had an ocean view on deck 2, and the room was no issues there, just what you'd expect. I mean, it was probably a smaller size ocean view than I've had on other ships, but it was just me, so I didn't. It's not like I really needed to have a whole bunch of room to do things with. But seems like when they did the upgrades, they didn't really do much on the rooms because the rooms were very dated, kind of rough condition. I mean, everything worked. It's nothing like that, but as soon as you walked in, you could tell that they didn't really put anything into the room. Not that I saw. So that's that part of it. But really no issues with it. I was happy with it. The only thing that I probably wouldn't book that particular on that deck again, because the issue with deck 2 is it doesn't go, it's doesn't go from bow to stern. There's some breaks in it. So like I was in the forward section, and so I always had to make sure I got off on deck 4, went all the way forward and came down. I mean, not a huge issue, but if I was going on the ship again, that's something I would take into consideration. And let's see here. Got a question from the Z Show Cruise Fund, and he wants to know what about the adult section, I believe is what you're asking, which would be the solarium. And the solarium area was pretty much the same as what I've seen on Adventure of the Seas. You had your 2 hot tubs on either side. You had your pool in the middle, and you had your solarium bar. And I went up there. I believe it's on the first sea. Well, we had one sea day, and so I went up there early in the morning. That's another thing. The time difference. That 2-hour time difference always had me messed up because I was always waking up at like 5 in the morning. Thinking, because in my mind it's like 7. So that first sea day, I woke up at like 5, and so I figured, well, be a perfect time to, go hit up the hot tub, get my hot tub time in, and so that's what I did. But it was nothing, no issues there. I think they actually spruced it up a little bit. They had some really nice, beds in there to lay on. So, yeah, the solarium area was pretty cool. Like I said, I hit that up on the sea day, and And so that, yeah, that's another thing too. That cruise was definitely a packed cruise. I mean, uh, there was a lot of people on there. It was Labor Day weekend, so I guess maybe it's like the last little vacation of the summer. And so yeah, it felt like it was a fully booked cruise for sure. Um, so moving on, let's talk about the food. And the food I thought overall was pretty awesome. Um, I ate at the main dining room. I ate at the Windjammer. I ate at Hooked Seafood, Jamie's Italian, El Loco Fresh, Johnny Rockets, and I even had room service. So just a little touch on that. I think my favorite by far was eating at Hooked, and that's a specialty dining restaurant. It's a seafood restaurant, and man, I had the surf and turf, and it was really you know just what you would hope for. The lobster tail was it was definitely a little bit better quality than what you might get in the main dining room. Steak was made just the way I liked it, and so yeah, it was pretty good experience. Main dining room. I ate there. I think it was the day 3 for dinner, and but an interesting note on the main dining room, because I signed up for anytime dining, and what I noticed, at least on this ship, and I'm not sure what was behind it, but in the past when I've had anytime dining, it's just that it's anytime dining. You can, as soon as the main dining room opens up, you just go on the app, reserve your table, you go right in. But for some reason on this particular ship, if you were doing anytime dining, they didn't want you couldn't go in there until 6:45, and which was, it's like, well, how is that anytime? I mean, so I got to wait till almost 7. I mean, that's almost like late dining in my opinion. But be that as it may, that's how they had it set up. And so, I mean, it's not a huge issue, but I'm one of these people. I like to eat earlier than later. I don't like to wait till 7 o'clock in the evening to eat. But that's just the way it was. But as far as the food goes, well, the service was awesome. I had a great table. The food was pretty good, and because I believe it was I had the steak, the strip loin, and I didn't really have any complaints with the food. I thought it was pretty good, and so I'll just leave it at that. I did eat at Jamie's Italian, and I don't know. I'm in comparison to, because I've had Giovanni's table, and oh wait, let me got a question here from Monica. I hear mixed reviews about the food in the main dining. People either love it or hate it. Yeah, I see that a lot too. Pretty much on every ship, it's either people are either into it or they're not. I can't say that I had a negative experience. Mine was positive. It's just for me. It was only a 4-day cruise, and I had specialty dining on the other 2 days. So, but yeah, back to Jamie's Italian. Comparing it to like Giovanni's table, I would have preferred Giovanni's table. That's just my own personal opinion. And honestly, in full disclosure, I don't usually eat at a lot of Italian restaurants. Usually, I mean, it's not that the food is bad or anything, or that I hate it. It's just that I'm always confused when I go in one, because they always put the menu in Italian, and it's like antipasta and this, that, and the other. And maybe I'm just not well versed on all that. And it seems like no matter what I order, it always comes out different than what I'm thinking. And that's pretty much the case here with Jamie's Italian. I did get kind of recommendations from the server, and I don't know. it just wasn't the experience for me. I mean, I'm not saying the food wasn't necessarily bad. It's just it wasn't, I guess, what I was thinking it was going to be. But be that as it may, the other places, like I said, I ate at El Loco Fresh. Wasn't a big fan of it. Didn't like the choices. I didn't think it was. Uh, Seemed like they was just missing something. I mean, they had like tacos that you would go through. You would go through the line. You would get your tortilla. They would have a couple different meat varieties. I think one was like shredded chicken, and I forget what the other one's pork. And then they had some beans and rice, and then they had like a little salsa bar, and then they also had like some pre-made burritos. And so I got did the tacos, and I got one of the pre-made burritos, which the pre-made burrito was not. It was like mostly tortilla with rice in it, just a little bit of meat in it. And we got Bam Manola Ventures in the house. Welcome in, welcome in. Good morning to you. Hope you're staying cool today. But yeah, El Loco Fresh didn't do it for me. I did like Johnny Rockets Express. I thought the hamburgers were great. Windjammer, that's where I ate pretty much breakfast every morning, and I did have lunch there I think once, and no issues there. It was just what I'd expect from the Windjammer, which is their buffet for people that don't know. Plenty of seating, plenty of different options, different types of food going on. And so, no issues there. And I even did the room service. I believe the last day it was the last day of the cruise for dinner. And it's just that I was really tired, and I didn't feel like waiting until almost 7 o'clock to eat in the MDR. So I just ordered from the room service menu, and it's a limited menu. They don't have a whole lot of options, but I had the Royal Burger with fries, and also had a Cobb salad to go with it. And it was good. It was pretty good, and the service was quick. I think it cost me like $9 and something to order it. So not a huge price. So there's my review on the food. Overall, I thought it was awesome. I wasn't impressed with El Loco Fresh, and to me, Jamie's, I would much rather have Giovanni's, but that's just my opinion. So moving on to, we had 2 ports. The first port was Catalina, and that's a tender port for those that you don't know. And to get the tickets was real easy. You just went down to the main dining room, and they would have a table set up, and you just tell them, "Hey, I need a tender ticket." And then they had it broken up into groups, and each group had a certain time, and they would call the groups, over the intercom. So I got, they gave me group 1, and and for Catalina, I had originally booked an excursion. It was going to be a tour of the casino building, but I guess not enough people signed up, and so they canceled it. I guess it was just me and a couple other people, and they needed a certain amount, so they canceled it. But they refunded my money, and so I just rode the tender in, walked around. I pretty much walked from where they drop you off at the tender. And then I walked all the way to the end of the island there, and past the casino building. And it's a pretty neat little town. The town itself is the name of the town is Avalon. So in case you're wondering, Catalina is the island, and Avalon is the actual town that they drop you off in. And so they've got all kinds of equipment rentals. You can sign up for tours. You can rent golf carts. All of that stuff, they've got it all right there as soon as you get off the tender. And there's all kinds of, eating places to get coffee, ice cream places, things of that nature. They did have a couple of beaches, but they were really small. So, if you're, really wanting to do that, I would recommend getting off the ship as early as possible because it kind of filled up pretty quick. But like I said, I walked all the way down, and I did end up going to the casino building and just paid to do the self tour, and which was $20. So I saved like $15 doing it myself, and it's a pretty cool historical building. They actually still show movies there, so I guess for the locals that live there, uh, I think she said it's like Thursday through Sunday they show movies, and that's on the ground floor. And then you go up to the second story, and that's where they have all the historical exhibits and stuff. And they have like a huge ballroom. They have an area where they show like it's kind of like a historical documentary of the area. So it's pretty neat, and you get some really cool views up on that second floor of the marina and where the ship is anchored and all that. You can watch people parasailing, and so all in all, I'd say that it was a good port visit. And so like I said, I just walked, did the casino, and then got back on the tender, went back. I will say this: beware of the bees. Bees, and then they have these yellow jackets, and I don't know what was going on, but the spot where they have the tenders pull into is it's almost like I felt like I was in one of those 70s killer bee movies, at points. I mean, so I'm not sure what they got going on there, but just be on the lookout for that. If you go to Catalina, just beware of the bees. But yeah, other than that, it was an awesome place. And now that I've been there, it kind of gives me a better idea. So if in the future, if I come back, I'll have some better ideas of what I might want to do. Um, and so that was Catalina. And then after that, the next day we had Ensenada, and it was a pretty nice little port. We were the only ship there that day, and it's real easy to get off. They have a walking path that you can take from the terminal area out, and you can either go into town or you can go just kind of hug around the marina by the waterfront, which is what I did. And I didn't have any kind of plan. I was just going to get off, grab some lunch, and kind of walk around. And so that's what I did. I went down to the marina area and found a little, lunch spot. Had another surf and turf with the Puerto Nuevo style lobster, where it's kind of like they split it in half and deep fry it. It's actually pretty good. They did have a cool little fountain area on the way there, and it's pretty huge. And they have like these water jets just shooting up, kind of like at the Bellagio or something. And they have these speakers set up that's playing music, and you walk through there, and the kids are all splashed around in the fountain, and so I thought it was pretty cool. So, yeah, and as far as I know a lot of people when you go to some of these ports, the concern is people trying to bug you to buy stuff or trying to panhandle or something. And there was a little bit of that, but not as bad as in other ports that I've been to. I mean, yes, you did have the typical vendors trying to sell you their souvenirs and stuff, but they weren't. I didn't feel like they were overly pushy. I mean, yeah, they would yell out to you, but as long as you just kept it moving, it wasn't a big deal. I did get hit up. They had these ladies that were collecting money for children's orphanages, and so I did get hit up and by one of those ladies, and I donated some money because I mean, I don't know, it just I'm kind of I guess a sucker for something like that. Not that they were trying to sucker me, but when it comes to kids and things like that, it's hard for me to just not donate. So that was the only thing there, and One interesting thing that I did note when I was getting back on the ship, because typically you go through the little terminal area, you go on the ship, and then they make you put your bags and stuff on the X-ray and all that stuff when you're back on the ship. Well, at Ensenada, they do it a little bit different. They actually X-ray your bags and stuff before you get on the ship. So I thought that was a little interesting. Um, I mean, nothing. I mean, it's not like they did anything any different. It was pretty much completely the same process. They were just doing it in the terminal, and then once you got past that and got on the ship, they weren't doing any of that stuff up there. So just something interesting that I noted, and so that pretty much sums up the cruise part of it. Like I said, it was a 4 day cruise. You had embarkation day, you had sea day, then Catalina, and then Ensenada, and then pull in the next day. And so as far as debarkation went, it went pretty smooth. What I chose to do, because I wasn't going to be flying out till the next day, and so I had a hotel reservation by the airport. And so you get off the ship at 8:30. You're not going to be able to check in the room till at least in the afternoon. So I went to the shore excursion desk and I signed up for a tour of LA and airport transfer. And it was like, it was $79. And like I say, it was going to be a $45 Uber ride anyway. So for a little bit extra, they take you around the city. It's like a 5 hour tour, and you go to like 4 or 5 different spots, and in some spots they'll let you off for like 45 minutes or an hour to walk around. uh, and but it was the good thing about it is I got the group one for getting off the ship. So they give you the luggage tags as soon as you purchase the ticket, and so you set your luggage out the night before, and so that way in the morning you just meet up in one of the lounges. And so the next morning I went and had breakfast, met up at the lounge, and they had the shore excursion person there to greet us. And then once they called for group one, she escorted us down to where you get off the ship, and you just go through really quick, grab your luggage, go outside. They had the buses waiting, and then pretty good process. Pretty smooth getting off. No issues. I don't know. Now maybe it would have been different if I wasn't doing that excursion. I don't know. I can't say, but I can just say that what I did was pretty organized. And then the tour itself was really, I really enjoyed it. I mean, they took us to, like I said, 4 or 5 different spots, and then all along the way, they had a tour guide, and she would point out different historical things or places of interest, and give you the lowdown on all that. And so I enjoyed that. We went to we went to the Hollywood Walk of Fame by the Chinese Theater and all that, and they dropped us there. And so we had like an hour to walk around and see the sights there, and which I enjoyed it. I mean, you got to see I saw Chuck Norris's star. I mean, just you name it. There were so many I can't even remember. So a lot of cool photo opportunities there. We also went to this farmers market, which was pretty cool. They let us out there for an hour, and they had all kinds of eating places, shops. Plus, if you keep walking down, they had like some of the big stores, like Nordstrom's and the Gap and all that stuff. If you wanted to do that. And then there was another little farmers market that they took us to, which they had once again more eating places and stuff. But all in all, I enjoyed it. And you didn't, if you didn't want to get off the bus, you didn't have to get off the bus. The bus was really comfortable. It had the places to plug in and charge your phone if you needed to. And then when it was done, they drop you by the airport, and you go on about your business. And so, yeah, I mean, I thought for the price, it was a pretty good value, and took took some of the stress off me to try to figure out, well, gee, what am I going to do to kill time, before I can check into my room. Uh, so there it is, folks. That's the good, bad, and the ugly of my trip on the Navigator of the Seas. And you know, so would I do it again? Well, yes, I would. Now I haven't gone through it. Now that I know what to expect with the cruise terminal there and all that, I'd probably have a much better experience the next time around as far as booking a room. And I would probably, if I did it again, I'd probably give myself a couple of days in San Pedro before the cruise, kind of extend it out, because, like I say, there was a lot to do right there, and it was all pretty convenient. Uh, the ship, Navigator of the Seas, I would definitely go on that again. I thought it was a great ship. I thought it had, I mean, for a ship that size, the amount of things that they had going on, I thought was pretty, definitely, definitely kept you busy. 4 days on that ship goes by in a flash. I mean, it didn't seem like, we weren't a bit more pulling out then it was time to get off. There's so much to keep you busy, and then throwing those couple of port days in there. I mean, it seemed like you were just always doing something. So, yes, I would go on the Navigator of the Seas again. I would do that itinerary again. I would sail out of LA again. Um, had a really good time, and so there you have it, folks. That's my thoughts on the Navigator of the Seas. And if you guys have any questions, you can drop them in the comments or whatnot. I'm working on getting the vlogs out. Should have my first vlog out tomorrow, hopefully. I was messing around doing some editing with that, last night. Plus, that's the other thing now. The time change. It kind of messed me up on that end. Now it's messing me up on this end because, now I'm thinking, I'm on that Pacific time, and so I'm thinking it's like midnight, and when I look at the clock, it's like 2 a.m. So I don't know. It's those West Coast trips. It took me a while to get back in the swing of things after my Alaska cruise. So, but small price to pay to have enjoy things. So yeah, tomorrow I should have the first vlog out. It'll be basically covering what I did the day before the cruise, and then we'll go from there. And then also, I'm still trying to figure out pick a day to do my 1K subscriber appreciation show, and where I'm going to hopefully give away some prizes. And so I'll let you guys know when that's going to be. And but yeah, that's it, folks. That's all I got for today. But before I close, get out of here, I just wanted to touch on the fact that today is 9/11, and I definitely want to send out thoughts and prayers to people that were that lost loved ones on that day, that or maybe they were injured themselves. First responders, people that ended up with life changing diseases and things like that. I mean, there's still people that are affected by that. People that ended up with these ailments because of breathing in the dust and things of that nature. And so, and then also, people in the military that had to go on deployments because of that day. So it's wide ranging. There's a lot of folks that were affected. I myself, I wasn't in New York on that day. I didn't have any loved ones there, but my experience with 9/11 was, I had just gotten out of the Navy, and I was back home in Houston, and I was staying at my parents' house, and I just remember my mother was yelling, like, hey, get up, something's happening, a plane crash. And, I mean, back then we were all so naive, things like that just didn't happen. So I thought maybe she was just exaggerating something. And so I get up and I go in the living room to find out what's going on. And pretty much as soon as I walked in the room, because she had it on the big TV, CNN, I see, I walked in just as the second tower or second plane hit. And so just seeing that, I knew right away that this was no accident. This wasn't, I knew right away what this was. And so I ended up going back in. I went to see my recruiter, and it took me a couple of years to get back in, but went back in and spent a lot of time, you know, uh, working on anti-terrorism. After that, I deployed to Iraq. I deployed to Afghanistan, and saw firsthand the evil that there really is in this world, and you know that's how my life is. I look at it this way: that I've pretty much lived two lives. There's the life before 9/11, and there's the life after 9/11. And I don't want to make this about me at all. I'm just bringing this up, because I think it's important that we remember these days. We remember 9/11. It really is true. Never forget, because it's only if we forget, then we run the risk of having it again, and we don't want that. And but I don't want to take up too much of your rest of your day, but I just wanted to touch on that and give my 2 cents on it. But oh, hey, look here, we got the Bud Files coming in. Well, welcome in. Good morning. I was actually just about to wrap it up, but yeah, like I said, I don't want to take up too much of you guys' time. I appreciate you guys popping in. Uh, as always, if you found this video useful, informational, consider hitting the thumbs up on the way out. And if you're new to the channel and you're just tuning in, and you want to stay up to date on what all I've got going on, then hey, consider subscribing. It's 100% free, and it helps the channel, and it's greatly appreciated by me. But other than that, folks, hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Hope your week goes well, and I will keep you posted on anything else I got going on. But I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. So have a great day, everybody. Bye.